Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now. A 22-year-old man is in a critical condition in the Royal Hobart Hospital after crashing his ute into a tree outside Daisybank Farms in Richmond late last night. Police say the man was driving east along Middle Tea Tree Road around 10:30 when he lost control and crashed on the opposite side of the road. Investigations are continuing. And police are searching for the driver of this car, which became tangled in a power line following a 2-car crash at Brighton this morning. The white sedan had collided with a blue van before ending up with its bonnet in the air. The man behind the wheel left the scene before police arrived. The driver of the van suffered minor injuries. Tasmania is reopening its border with South Australia from midnight. Tasmanians in home quarantine after recently visiting that state will be able to leave, provided they haven't been to high-risk areas. Public Health says the decision comes after South Australia recorded no new community cases or additional exposure sites. Meanwhile, the aviation industry is optimistic the border with Victoria could also open soon as passenger numbers dive at Tasmanian airports by almost half pre-COVID levels. Others in the sector are also feeling the pinch, with travellers nervous to book amid border uncertainty.
Lockdown in New South Wales and lockdown of seeing his mum in Tasmania. The last few months for Reid Connor have been
absolutely shocking.
A family reunion was planned for next month, but booking a flight to Hobart in the middle of a volatile COVID situation is risky.
Just a constant thing of, getting tickets and then it gets put on credit by the airline, obviously, and then waiting and then rebooking.
Concerns echoed in the latest annual figures from the Launceston Airport. Passenger numbers nosedived by nearly half of pre-COVID levels, while flights dropped by a third.
When the lockdowns come in, passenger demand drops off, cancellations come in.
It's a similar bleak story at Hobart Airport, missing around 50% of its usual travellers. But it's not just the airlines that are hurting.
We'd be down 90%.
Travel agents have felt the collateral damage of snap border closures and hesitant tourists.
They don't want to outlay more money as such on top of credits from existing holidays booked last year.
The check-in area here in Launceston is eerily quiet. As many as 50 flights have been cancelled in the last week alone. But airport management are hopeful border restrictions with Victoria and South Australia could ease in the coming days.
So we're very optimistic about the opening in the next few days, hopefully.
A small step towards what many hope is a return to normality.
This is really 2 years of people's lives and not seeing family and whatnot.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmanian News.
The future of a cable car on Mount Wellington is in the hands of Hobart City councillors tonight, with a special meeting taking place right now to vote on the controversial project. Our reporter Ainsley Kosh is outside Town Hall. Ainsley, when are we expecting a decision?
Kim, tonight Council is considering the planning application for a cable car on top of Mount Wellington during a special meeting as the local planning authority. The meeting started about an hour ago and is expected to run until later tonight. Now it comes 2 years after the original development application was lodged by the Mount Wellington Cableway Company. Right now deputations are happening inside council chambers with 12 councillors, the cable car proponents and members of the public having their say about why the project should or shouldn't go ahead.
We would hope that they would walk away from this developer, accept that they've given it a crack, accept that they've failed, and let Hobartians heal and get on with the job of protecting and respecting Kununurra Mount Wellington.
Our cableway will take about 180,000 cars a year off the road. It'll be far safer going up in a cableway, and the facility up there will be something to be proud of, not embarrassed by, which is currently the case.
Now, the meeting comes after a crucial report was released just last week, which recommended 21 reasons why the cable car development shouldn't go ahead, citing impacts to the mountain's cultural, recreational and landscape values. Now, if Council accepts those recommendations tonight, Kim, it would mean a huge setback for the proponents, but they have vowed not to give up their fight to put a cable car on top of Mount Wellington.
Tasmanian Walnut Farm is the latest small business to expand its tourism experience under a federal government initiative launched today. The Open the Gate program is expected to boost agri-tourism in regional areas.
It's a big change for a business like ours to go into a totally new industry, but that's where a program like Opening the Gate provides such an amazing opportunity for us to understand a new industry, the challenges that come with that, and make an informed decision.
The federal government is funding the program through its COVID-19 Relief and Recovery Fund. The Tasmanian music industry is calling for a fresh look at restrictions and the possibility to perform at AFL games. The pandemic has brought the sector to its knees, with capacity limitations making it nearly unviable for venues to host live music.
The last 18 months have been a roller coaster for the Wolf brothers.
We were meant to spend our 2020 in Canada, then we were meant to go on to America and play shows.
But the pandemic brought that to a halt and saw the band stop gigging altogether. But there has been no breaks for Wolf Brothers, set to release a new album, which it hopes it can play to live audiences.
We just can't wait to get back out there and play our new songs.
Artists like us get a little bit frustrated when we see sporting people being allowed to leave hotspot areas to go to other states to work, when guys like us are not allowed that sort of privilege.
Prompting calls for Tasmanian acts to play at halftime during AFL games in the state.
Well, of course I would support that wherever possible, subject to safety restrictions being in place. That would be a fantastic idea.
For many artists, touring is the source of about 90% of their income and gives them the ability to attract new fans. But for venues like the Royal Oak, restrictions of one person per 2 square metres makes live performances near unviable.
It only just works. We have the same staffing for 80 people as we have for 160 people, so we had to borrow money.
While capacity restrictions remain in place for venues, the pandemic has meant costs have increased, with the need to have COVID marshals, sanitising stations and undergo deep cleans.
The biggest thing without actually compensating the industry for losses is to increase capacity.
Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
The resources sector is aiming to hire more women and people from culturally diverse backgrounds. The state government providing $300,000 to the forestry industry and $150,000 to mining to fund an action plan for recruitment.
At the moment, it's really about understanding what some of those barriers are to attracting and retaining women, but also people of ethnic and linguistic diversity to our industry.
This is important because it'll improve opportunities in the sector, and it will improve productivity and economic opportunity and social outcomes.
Women make up around 15% of both mining and forestry sectors. A Tasmanian family stunned by a surprise cancer diagnosis is putting in a team effort to support others in the same situation. When Mum Jo was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, her son responded by hitting the basketball court and calling in some star power.
The game of life can throw some cruel twists, so when ovarian cancer struck Luke Harris's mum Jo, he made a tall order, inviting the Hobart Chargers and Jack Jumpers to go toe-to-toe with his schoolmates in a charity game. What the boys lacked in height,
I think our tallest player is about 6'1".
They made up for in meaning. The game supported a dedicated cancer group, now chaired by Jo's husband Scott, raising money for a purpose-built wellness centre.
We were told the worst possible news, that that she would perhaps not be here in the long term, and we're still facing that every day.
As vital is education, what to look for in a condition notoriously hard to detect early on.
For her, it's a tough road, but we want to make sure that other Tasmanian women don't go through the same situation.
Those touched by the family's battle are cheering them on.
The support he's received and all his mates have got around him has been really good.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, check your lottery tickets because one lucky Tasmanian is more than $830,000 richer but doesn't know it yet. The mystery Division 1 winning weekend ticket was sold at the Kings Meadows News and Lotto store, but because it was unregistered, officials have no way of contacting the person who bought it.
It'll be wonderful as one of our regulars, but we'll just have to wait and see.
It's the store's 24th Division 1 prize. 2 new guide dog pups have made a awesome start to their training as part of the latest round of recruits. It's hoped the canines will graduate to offer life-changing assistance and friendship to Tasmanians in need.
They may be cute and cuddly, but Kwasi and Frida are ready for duty, giving Tasmanians in need a new leash on life.
Guide Dogs Tasmania is currently training guide and assistance dogs for people with low vision or blindness and also for children with autism.
The new recruits are busily training through Guide Dogs Tasmania's annual volunteer program.
They are getting out and about in the community, socialising, getting used to different sights, sounds, and just experiencing as much as possible.
While not all dogs graduate, each is given a special purpose to help in the community.
We actually have a facility dog with the Launceston General Hospital, which helps in their emergency ward, and we have dogs that support children with diabetes, that just need a bit of a companion, someone with PTSD.
Tasmanian governors have been patrons of the successful program since 1960.
It's a very important organisation which enables people to have independent lives and more rewarding lives as a result of having a lovely companion.
While their skills are still a little rough around the edges, they'll soon join 25 other working guide dogs across the state. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmanian News.
Collingwood could be making its first trip to the Apple Isle for premiership points. In what would be a history-making coup, Hawthorn will consider moving next week's game from the MCG to Tasmania following a ban on crowds at the footy in Victoria for the next 2 weeks. The Hawks have already moved this weekend's game against Brisbane to UTAS Stadium. The last time Collingwood played in Tasmania was a pre-season match in 2015. The Hockeyroos golden goalkeeper is inspiring one of the state's most promising prospects. Diamondbacks goalie Camilla Vaughan helped hold Derwent to a 1-1 draw on the weekend, having taken on advice from her hockey idol, Rachel Lynch.
Play how I train and just be happy to be here, which is something that I've really taken on, and I'm just here to have fun and play as hard as I can.
The 18-year-old plans to join the Tassie Tigers hockey team after her Year 12 studies. OHA thrashed University 9-1 in the other women's game, while Derwent recorded a win in the men's. OHA and Uni played out a draw. And shocking conditions have greeted riders in the Tasmanian Motocross Championship. Launceston's Angus Pearce extended his lead in the junior lights in Smithton, finishing clear of the Northwest's Zach Buxton and Sam Bell. Hobart's Jay Jennings won 2 classes on the same day, while Hugh McKay had 6 wins from 6 starts in the Pro Light and Pro Open classes.
Good evening. Temperatures have warmed up somewhat today. Better too. Hobart, Friendly Beaches and Bushy Park all 17 sharing the top. Launceston 15, 14 for Burnie and Devonport. Maximum temperatures up by 4 degrees above average. Flinders Island and Grove had a top of 16. King Island, Smithton, St Helens and Strawn all 15 degrees. Lowhead 14 and Lyowini 7. Taking a look at the satellites, we can see some middle and high-level cloud thickening over the state ahead of the system that's approaching Tasmania from the west. Strawn had 6 millimetres of rain out of that today. And that cloud band is currently over Western Victoria and South Australia. Some low-level clouds streaming onshore over southern and central WA. To tomorrow's chart, the cold front passes Tasmania in that strong westerly airstream with a trough following. High pressure dominates most of the mainland. Winds tending west-northwesterly up to 30 knots before increasing to 40 knots along the west and south. Swells getting up to past 6 metres in western and southern waters. Gale warning, that's current for all coastal waters along with the central plateau lakes. A strong wind warning is current for Storm Bay and the southwest lakes. A minor flood warning for the North Esk, a flood watch for all northern rivers plus the Huon and Derwent, and the last warning for sheep graziers for most grazing districts tomorrow. Now to the forecast. Hobart, a shower or two and 15. Showers easing for Geeveston, 15 the top and 12 the high for Bothwell. For Launceston tomorrow, a high of 14 degrees with showery day, winds easing, showers and wind for Devonport as well, 13 the high for Cressy. Burnie expecting a top of 14 degrees, winds easing but showers during the day. Very windy though for Strawn, 14 the top and 14 for Curry on King Island. Showery in the east as well. St Helens, Swansea and Orford all expecting 15 degrees. Now for the next couple of days, showers over most areas apart from the east coast on Thursday. Snow to 700 metres and the chance of some hail. A sunny 15 in Hobart on Friday and partly cloudy for Swansea, but showers elsewhere contracting to the north. And on Saturday, showers statewide, possibly heavy over the north and west. A thunderstorm about those coasts as well. Taking a look Australia-wide, a shower or two for Perth, Adelaide and Melbourne tomorrow. Rain for Canberra as well, just 11 degrees there. A warmer 24 in Sydney and partly cloudy and mostly sunny for Brisbane. Cloud about at the moment, 13 degrees in Hobart, 12 degrees in Launceston right now and 12 in Devonport. Rain for the next couple of days, Kim, but it should clear up, particularly by Sunday when the Hawks take on the Brisbane Lions at UTAS.
Okay, thanks very much, Murph. And that is all we have time for this evening. Have a great night. See you again tomorrow. Good night.